And lo, it shall pass that the reviewer can't get off level 1, and he shall not care for the game, or want to play it for more than 20 minutes. But lo, he shall be fearful of the software company dropping advertising and missing him off the free crate of beer list at Christmas, and he shall tremble and quake mightily, as all rival mags have given it a high score. So, he shall give it a score low enough to dissuade potential buyers, yet high enough to pacify the software people. And that score shall be the number of the beast, and it shall be 73%.
Today's defendant, Superplay, Issue 27, January 1995. The game, The Great Circus Mystery, starring Mickey and Minnie. Court is in session. It's a platform game. It's not like the SNES was short of those. In fact, the SNES wasn't even short of Disney platform games. The first problem The Great Circus Mystery has is that the much better remembered Mickey Mania was reviewed just the previous month. How the hell that was allowed to happen is something of a mystery itself, but one explanation would be that, much like Aladdin, these are games by entirely different software houses. Mickey Mania was written by Sonic 3D and later LEGO developers Traveller's Tales for Sony ImageSoft, and this is an in-house Capcom affair, much like the SNES version of Aladdin. Mickey Mania got 87%. The predecessor to this game, Mickey's Magical Quest, got 89% a couple of years previously. So something has certainly gone wrong here. And I think we should probably start by calling our first witness, that original game. And yes, especially for an early SNES game, this is a rather wonderful little thing. Pluto's been kidnapped, and with the help of a friendly wizard, Mickey's off to get him back. At only 6 worlds it might seem short, but I'm reminded of a comment I made about its Mega Drive cousin, Castle of Illusion, in that by the end of World 1, it's thrown more ideas at you than some platform games have in their entire run, including a couple of interesting mini-bosses. And then at the start of World 2, the jungle, it starts giving you new costumes, the game's mechanic for unlocking new abilities. You can freely change in and out of these to deal with obstacles in your way. Between the 6 worlds and the Infinite Continues, you'll probably finish it fairly quickly, but it feels like it'll be a good time doing so. From a quick 15 minutes, 89% is entirely believable. So Mickey Mania from the previous month then. This is a different beast in all but one way. Pluto's being kidnapped, and you have to go get him back. Pre-rendered graphics tells you this is a later 16-bit game. Traveller's Tales were well known for their tech savvy, responsible also for Toy Story and Sonic 3D on the Mega Drive, which used similar techniques. They're also not ones to shy away from an involved concept for a game. And Mickey Mania has it, with levels based on classic Mickey Mouse titles as you go through time, starting here with Steamboat Willie. And for the 15 minutes we allowed it in court, that's all it has. This is a noticeably harder game than that first Capcom one, and while practice will get us through, the time allotted did not. It's a gorgeous thing though. Steamboat colours itself in as you go through the level, and this is yet another Mickey game that is chock full of ideas. Again, you can see where the hiatus are coming from, and if nothing else, this episode is already telling me I've cruelly neglected playing the Nintendo side of the 16-bit Mickey games. So okay, to the matter at hand. The Great Circus Mystery. It seems Pluto has disappeared, and Mickey heads off to find out what's going on. Frankly, I think he should probably be taking the hint at this point. It's okay though. You almost immediately meet Donald, who gives you an outfit in order to go through the circus and defeat opponents, such as, again, 2 interesting mini-bosses. Then, quicker even than the first game, you get to World 2, the jungle... Hang on a minute. Yeah, this is problem 1 with the Great Circus Mystery. It's really, really similar to the first game. Superplay points out a couple of them. 2 very similar early bosses, and that strikingly similar jungle world. It's not bereft of ideas though. The game is short, with just 6 worlds again, and I got through 2.5 of them already. Infinite continues are a nice gesture for the children it was probably aimed at, but do shorten the life too. Equally though, there's ultimately 4 costumes with new abilities. The circus gives you a vacuum that can suck up the smaller enemies, the jungle a safari costume for ziplining and climbing, and the haunted mansion an entire horse to ride that spits out corks for shooting. No, I'm not sure either. Once you've unlocked a costume, you can switch to it anytime, even in later levels, introducing a little element of problem solving. Equally though, these are also traits present in the first game, and Superplay at least admits to preferring the costumes from that game. Not in the first game though, is 2-player co-op, which I quite like in a game like this, if only for a parent and child to work through together. I'll certainly be suggesting my friends with kids try this with their young Disney-obsessed offspring. With the highly important modifier of it not being £60 now, I think you should play this as well as that first game. You could probably finish either in an afternoon, especially if you're more competent than me. The Infinite Continues don't quite return you to exactly where you were, but it's also nowhere near the beginning of the world that most games would do. That said, this is an emulation job, because it's irritatingly expensive in physical form now, perhaps due to it being a late release. A cart only at CEX will cost you over £30, although you'll pay half that for the first game, which is a lot more worth it, but of course loses that all-important co-op. Mickey Mania, incidentally, is pleasantly cheap. Just a tenner on SNES and £6 on Mega Drive in cart-only form. Superplay have a strong defence here. There's no real way to paint Great Circus Mystery as a bad game. Unsurprisingly, as it's a Capcom platformer. But there's also no way to excuse that it's a retread of the previous game being sold for full price. And even less of an ability to excuse that it's that short for that price. In the intervening time since the first game got nearly 90%, we'd seen many decent platformers on the system. Not least the likes of Aladdin from Capcom themselves, or Donkey Kong Country from the Big N. There was Yoshi's Island on the horizon too. And that's not even mentioning the spectre of a new, more interesting Mickey game the previous month. They also suggest it would have benefited from a Sonic & Knuckles style plug-through system, so it could actually have been released as a level pack for a cheaper price. An interesting idea, somewhat ruined by the fact Sega charged full price for Sonic & Knuckles. So did Superplay inflate the score? Perhaps a little. After all, this is the exact same reviewer that was dead wrong about the death and return of Superman. So Tony Mott would certainly give low scores when he wanted to, and his conclusion to this review, stating the game was only a modicum of amusement, doesn't scream 7 out of 10. I think though that's more trying to justify such a low score than inflating this one. Plus, the review is pretty dead on with everyone else's prevailing opinion. It averages 74% on game rankings, EGM gave it 7.4 out of 10, Nintendo Power 3.5 out of 5, or 7 out of 10. I think, ultimately, this is a fair score for a good game that has to be considered in the context of its time and price. Superplay, I find you not guilty of all charges. You are free to go. Court dismissed.